that they have to, I don't know, purchase some ingredients for this, that let's say for this recipe and stuff like that. So we take that part of not thinking like, this is what we did today, or these are your options today, and this is how you can replicate it, and these are the materials that you need.
Your business's success depends on relationships with customers, relationships with employees, and relationships with stakeholders. What do they all have in common? They're all human. Because no matter if your business is B2B or B2C, it's really H to H, human to human. Welcome to the Human Connection Podcast. I'm your host, Carl Ponto. Each week I'll bring you stories, insights, and practical advice from experts that you can apply to your growing company and daily life. This week I'm excited to connect with Clara Nafria. She is a Barcelona-based tech entrepreneur, educator, and marketing communications consultant, navigating the intersection of digital innovation and human connection. Founder of Grove Agency, a digital communications and public relations independent agency specializing in entrepreneurship, culture, tech, and entertainment. Her focus and energy are channeled into crafting Woop Do, a platform tackling digital overwhelm and loneliness through guided IRL experiences. They're reimagining how technology can foster mental health and genuine human connections. She's also an associate professor at UPF Barcelona, teaching next-gen communicators about digital strategies and PR, and has recently co-launched On the Net Today, a newsletter curating useful and timely digital resources almost daily. She's passionate about the creator economy, Web3, and using AI responsibly to enhance human potential. Congrats on Woop Do, and welcome to the Human Connection Podcast.
Thanks so much, Carl. That's a long bio for my short life, but thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. So tell me more about Woop Do and how you're helping people create these curated IRL experiences using tech.
Yeah, so basically Woop Do is a social activity platform designed to support mental health. So we have to think of it as an exercise app for real world experiences. So we basically get users go step by step through activities like cooking, music, or cultural discovery, any topic you can imagine. And it's designed to bring people together. But yeah, that's the essence of it. We like to call it a new kind of social platforms. There are many like social platforms out there, but there isn't really like one that perfectly combines digital and IRL, and that's what we're trying to build here. So yeah.
Yeah, it seems like one of the problems with using existing social apps to do that is that the social apps they're designed to keep you on the social app where they're trying to get more revenue. They're not really facilitating getting people together in real life, because that means they're not using the app, they're not getting the ad revenue. So the current kind of algorithms or motivations for those platforms are not to get people to actually connect in real life, which is a big problem.
100%. Like they basically are chasing. They've been built by the same patterns, right? Like chasing likes, comparing ourselves to others, like missing out on a lot of things. And if you think about all these platforms like Instagram, TikTok, they are designed for users to scroll endlessly, like you were saying, like just to get more money, and it's a money making machine, right? And it's grabbing your time. And we're suddenly, using 3-4 hours a day that we used to maybe like spend outside or doing other things like looking at our phones, right? So the phone is not going to delete from the equation itself. So how do we introduce the phone, to the equation to make those 3-4 hours just a tiny bit more meaningful, right? And about like connecting with each other. Yeah.
And so what are some of the different activities that you're facilitating using the app?
Yeah, so because we've been running, we've been testing. We're now on beta version, hoping to, release the new product with AI integrated, of course. And we've done some successful tests covering a diverse range of activities, from like high school literature, which was literally like getting a class of teens, like they were like between 15, 16 years old to actually like get them like started on a book. And this is very weird because you would say, why, like it's about reading, and you usually read on your own. But this feeling of like community, and all of us are starting this at the same time, because it had on that specific activity, it had a date, right? So my classmate is doing it. I am with a person, and we're kicking off, the book together at the same time. And that worked really well. And we also did a street musician, like explore, like walking around the city discovery activity, which was something that every city in the world has, but none of us really, take the time to like stop, listen, and maybe have a conversation, or say hello, or say something to that person who is for hours playing music live on the streets, right? So it's basically like encouraging things in the middle of your day that can be anything. And at the beginning, when we were doing research, we spoke to a lot of people in their 20s, like even like later, like late 20s, who were already starting to spend more time with their partners, and their Friday night plan was basically, oh, we're gonna watch, like a TV show and make dinner. That was it. There was no more than that. So we started also testing, hey, what if the cooking experience or the picking the show experience could be something like meaningful, on top of what you will already be doing that is more like, passive and part of a routine. So all sorts of things. We also did an icebreaker activity for freshman girls in a sorority in Oregon. So yeah, anything you may think about.
So I like the idea of, the whole idea of book clubs is a thing, but I think it's helping introduce that idea to a younger generation using the technology, and just making it so your book club doesn't have to be all necessarily in the same location. It can be people anywhere in the world, but as long as you're reading the same book and you have that shared experience of, okay, we're reading this chapter today and then we're going to talk about it, is a tried and true way for people to connect. And I like the idea of almost turning the whole, like, this kind of coming across a street musician, giving prompts or making it a thing for people to just notice the world around them and interact with it more, and meet people organically that way, and see what comes from starting conversations
Exactly.
with a stranger on the street. I know that that's something that I've done before, and had a lot of fun with, just striking up conversations. And so I think and the whole date night thing, or like the night in with your partner, doing things that turn the routine into something special, is a great way to keep those relationships strong and fresh, and not and show people how much you care for them. Because I think it's there's the kind of routineness, or the people like forget to make an effort over time, especially when there's so many other things distracting us from.
Exactly.
That's so I like
the thing.
This the tech allows you to stimulate or kind of catalyze little
100%.
moments that make
That's the word.
Yeah.
It's a catalyzer, and it's interesting when without that, like without Woop Do on the equation, if we say, go to this like networking activity and start talking to someone, you have to think about the question, like try to think about the person. There's not like a matchmaking opportunity, there's nothing there. But if you have a tool that lets you, like, gives you permission to, ask this question or do this thing with this person, like within a context, people feel more comfortable. It's like their phone is allowing them to do, to take that extra step of socializing, like having a conversation or doing this, to someone. It's very, even us, like when we always say like Woop Do invented itself, because we found ourselves like, people having these ideas, and the fact that the app tells you, hey, here's your next step, and this is the next thing we have to do, and now record a video with with this person you just met at this networking activity, and discuss something you've learned from each other, right? So people will do it, right? And it's usually if you think about how TikTok is built, and there's a lot of people, we always say there's a lot of people doing what we call whoops, these activities that happen in our app, which is basically getting together and doing it. But replicating that is so much harder, because you have to think about, okay, what do these users, how did they prep, to get to this point? Did they have to, I don't know, purchase some ingredients for this, let's say for this recipe and stuff like that. So we take that part of not thinking like, this is what we did today, or these are your options today, and this is how you can replicate it, and these are the materials that you need. You can purchase them or just get them on your own, right? So that's a little bit. And I wanted to point out what you were just commenting about. We have already a lot going on, right? We have this like over reliance on digital, right? And that over reliance is basically what has affected, and I'm going to connect now with the real problem that we're trying to solve here, which is mental health. There's a decline, right, especially in teen mental health, since the rise of smartphones and since the rise of being all the time connected, digitally, which is, it's been great for some reasons, but the links that, for Instagram has with depression and anxiety, it's insane, right? So we're I've spent with the agency, as you mentioned at the beginning, I spent some time, crafting digital communication campaigns for users and looking at literally that whole business building, the attention business, and how do we get people's attention online. So I moved to like the opposite side on how do we balance that out, right?
And I think it's one of the things that your app does, what Woop Do does, is that one of the biggest challenges to changing human behavior is that until it becomes a habit, it takes a lot of effort, and it can be scary to try something new. And so people often avoid it because they're not willing to put the effort in, or they don't know how to put the effort in, or it's too scary, and that fear keeps them from trying. So they stay in the behaviors, even if they know that a behavior isn't good for them, because it's familiar and they're not dead yet. Their brain justifies it. Mm-hmm. So I like that your app takes a lot of the like kind of mental and emotional effort out of trying to build a new habit, try something new, by providing like, here's a recipe list, here's some prompts for things you could say, here's the steps for like start a conversation and then record a video, and like it makes it easier for people to change behavior and build new habits that are healthier. And I'd imagine that once that they build those habits, one, they'll be more likely to keep using the app, but also they'll be able to do more things outside the app that are just healthier for their mental health and for building connections. And it won't, before they realize it, probably it'll be natural and easy for them to have the sort of human interactions that they've been missing over all these years because they've been so reliant on digital, which I think is just beautiful.
Yeah. No, and the moment, I feel like we are starting to jump on a wave where people are aware that, I mean, first of all, over half of the population feels lonely, right? And people are starting to understand now why and what is happening to their kids, to their teens, and to them, like to themselves. So people are, I feel like they're even more aware and are willing to try more of that, because now we're seeing the impact that loneliness is having on our body and our mental health. Yeah.
So if how can people I know you said the app's in a beta. If people wanted to try out the beta and learn about the process, what's a way they can take that first step?
Yeah, definitely. So obviously, as soon as everyone who has signed up on our website, will be getting an notice of this first release. But what we're doing now is like private testers. So we are partnering with creators. For instance, a great group that is loving Woop Do is the Airbnb experience designers, because it is some they used to have a platform for something similar, but now we've let them build their own whatever they already had, but it was just easier and faster to get to their community with their experience. So we're just partnering with a lot of both like individuals who want to launch an activity to their specific close group, like a school, a club, or even a whole city. And we also are partnering with creators who want to launch it, out in the world. We actually partnered with a sustainability creator from LA to do like a water saving activity for the weekend. And basically it was as simple as, first of all, showering with someone like can be something fun. It sounds awkward, but it was very successful because you would, the 3-minute shower, you were listening to music, you were answering to some questions related to water saving, and it was very fun. So we are doing those like tests, and obviously we have to keep up with the team's capacity, and we're choosing where to test. That is, and where exactly we will learn more. So, but they can reach out via email, and we can set it up for sure.
And so I'd imagine this could also be something that like businesses could use as like team building within their organizations to help get people to connect on a more personal level with their coworkers. Because I think there's been a lot of issues with teams at companies because they just know each other in the professional sense, but they don't really have the sort of friendships or connection, and that can lead to all sorts of friction. So I'd imagine that there could be a kind of a business applications for this, for those sorts of teams, that instead of just having to wait till the next like off-site thing that seems very scripted and artificial, this could be a way to incorporate more kind of natural or organic activities into the kind of work balance of teams in the business sense.
Yeah, for sure. And it's one of the things I like most about Woop Do. It really fits into several verticals, although, we started with teens, and we started with like young people because that's where our experience was. But then, for instance, workplace and like basically like team building or any type of event where people sometimes don't see their coworkers' faces in like a long, a long time, for weeks, for months. And there's also several studies that talk about workplace loneliness, right? And sometimes you are going to the office, you're just not building those connections because maybe you're, a developer who doesn't really have to have a conversation to do their, work, and profiles like that are full digital. So that's basically my favorite part, that you can integrate, and it's literally like the builder, we give them access to like a drag and drop tool. So you're basically like choosing what prompt and what activity, like what specific action you want them to do in the screen, and you can make it as short or as long as you want it to be. So yeah.
So I like that level of customization for individuals, because I think it's the sort of thing that there's not going to be any one size fits all solution, because people are so different and their experiences are so different. So having the tools ability to develop different experiences based on whether it's like like public or business situation, or if it's just, if your audience is going to be more open to certain experiences, or the activity in mind is a certain experience, then you can customize the process. That makes a lot of sense. And I imagine it allows for a lot easier development for the users to build these sorts of things than trying to write out a
Yeah.
bunch of stuff by hand.
Yeah, and that's also why AI has impacted a lot the product, because now we also are training like our own AI that is capable of designing activities by our terms, because we've had, you know, user behavioral experts join the team just to help us understand when do people complete activities and how do people get excited about following, you know, certain steps, and how do you have to design that experience. So we are training that model as well. But yeah, and we also basically anyone can also choose to track the impact. So we're basically tracking social relationship health, and by the end of the experience you can see, you know, how mindful, if you made a connection, you know, how mindful that was or how good it was for your body. Let's say you took, you know, you walked 3 miles, you walked or you've done this activity. We've done all this research that links you at the end of the activity and tells you, hey, this is how this impacted you positively, which is, I think it's the user's favorite part, because that's when you're like, you know, at the end of the day, you want to get the outcome of the things that you do, right? So people love that part of the product. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for connecting with me today, Clara.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed this episode of the Human Connection podcast, please like, leave a review, and share it. If you'd like to connect with myself or Clara, please check out the links in the show notes. And remember, no matter if your business is B2B or B2C, it's really H to H, human to human. Happy connecting.
Thank you so much.